Ano ang best case scenario para sa mga NBA free agents? Kasama natin ngayon ang basketball analyst na si Enzo Flojo para tulungan tayo i-analyze yan at naka-sweater weather. Perfect. Medyo malamig
all the rain and stuff.
Well, bagamat malamig ang panahon ngayon, mainit ang usapan sa NBA free agency, lalo na sa Twitter. Ano ang pinakamalaking movement, Enzo, na nagulat ka so far?
Well, siguro Whiteside staying with Miami was a little bit. That's a big move for me. Kahit even if he stayed, parang I was hoping he would move to maybe help another team. Matunog na he would go to the West, to Dallas or to any other team there to help out another franchise. But choosing to stay in Miami means may ripple effect yan. It means Wade will probably stay with Miami as well. But it also means, because you're paying Whiteside a lot of money, it means Luol Deng is probably out of the picture for the Heat.
Pero ito nga, Enzo, ang pinakamalaking story nga naabangan natin, itong si Kevin Durant.
Yes, definitely.
Maraming teams ang gustong nag-aabang sa kanya. Of course, ang Warriors, Spurs, and Celtics, gaya nga ng nabanggit kanina. Pero para sa'yo, Enzo, saan siya pinakabagay?
Ay, kung fit at bagay lang, OKC talaga for me. No? I mean, at yung OKC naman, you have to give them props. Kasi they already made a big move, getting Victor Oladipo, even if they sacrifice Serge Ibaka, just to make their team a little deeper and more fit to play a fast-paced game, in the Western Conference. And I think nakita ni Durant yun. Kaya ako, kung pupusta ko talaga mag-stay siya. So OKC, more money, and you're part of a team that was maybe 3 minutes away from the NBA Finals. So I don't think it's a smart move to leave OKC at this point.
Pero hindi ba tempting para sa isang katulad ni Kevin Durant na sumama siya sa LA Clippers para gumawa ng Big Four? Kasi yun ang isa sa mga yun ang isa sa mga scenarios ngayon, di ba? Big Four, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, KD, and DeAndre Jordan. What do you think about this?
That's a possibility, but for the Clippers to do that, they're gonna have to unload everybody else that they have. I think Redick goes, Crawford goes, basically everyone goes on that team. But is that possible under the cap rules? Yes, I think they can squeeze that in. Definitely, they can't offer KD as much money as OKC. Kasi ang laki na nung bayad nung DJ, Blake Griffin at Chris Paul, di ba? Kaya pag itagpi-tagpi mo yung apat na yung Big Four talaga, pero yung mga makukuha mong pang-failure ng roster mo, medyo mga old-timers na yan, or kukuha ka from the D-League siguro. And ang Clippers kasi, sorry kay Anton, pero yung injury history nila the past couple of years, it hasn't been rosy, at least for them. So they're one injury away from tumbling down a few spots in the Western ladder.
Okay, so Anton, pa-follow up lang ako sa question mo. Still with Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Just in case he doesn't stay with OKC. Just for the sake of argument, ang top 3 natin dyan is Warriors, Spurs, and Celtics. Kung sakali man, Enzo, yun nga, I will ask the same question. Saan siya pinakabagay din sa tatlo?
I think a lot of people might disagree with my choice, but I'm excited with the prospect of him going east to Boston. I mean, Boston is a storied franchise. He has the opportunity to maybe supplant Larry Bird as the best small forward for Boston. I mean, malaking bagay yun. You go to, quote-unquote, a weaker conference.
Do they have the space?
They do. They do have the space. Maybe they might have to unload a couple of players. Still, they can't offer as much as OKC. But having Isaiah Thomas there, then a good coach in Brad Stevens, pag na-sign mo si KD, attractive din for many other free agents. So you can maybe make a play for Al Horford even also. So if he goes to Boston, very, very small chance it's going to happen. But that's going to shake the boat in the Eastern Conference. Imagine we're going to see maybe at least 4 or 5 LeBron versus KD matchups in the regular season. That's going to be great to watch.
Ganda nun.
I'm sure maraming Lakers fans na nanonood ngayon at they made some moves. Jordan Clarkson. But Timofey Mozgov.
Yun lang.
Bakit?
Actually, I'm still scratching my head at that move. No? I mean, Mozgov has been, sorry kay Mozgov, pero he's been a little irrelevant this season. Even if the Cavs won the championship. I mean, wala naman siyang masyadong na-contribute talaga significantly, especially towards the end of the season and then the playoffs. And suddenly, he gets signed by the Lakers for a whopping $64 million for 4 years. I'm guessing maybe the Lakers want his size.
Okay.
And earlier in his career naman, may flashes of defensive acumen itong si Timofey Mozgov. Kaya baka yun yung binabangko ng Lakers. Kasi kung tinan mo yung lineup nila, they just signed Clarkson again, they have D'Angelo Russell, they have Julius Randle, they drafted Brandon Ingram. None of those guys are centers. So if Mozgov stays healthy and if he can simply be a strong screener, a good rebounder, good shot blocker, then maybe he can justify the $64 million.
I just want to ask Migs,
Go ahead.
before you go. Sino mas magaling ngayon? Si Dwight Howard or si Timofey Mozgov?
Dwight Howard ako dyan. But I don't... Never will the Lakers return to that Dwight Howard, nightmare, Dwightmare.
Yeah.
So goodbye, Dwight. That says a lot, no? They'd rather pay Timofey Mozgov $64 million than even think of getting back with Dwight Howard.
Well, yun nga, no, speaking of centers, ito nga si Timofey Mozgov, kung i-compute natin, nasa 16 million siya per year. So if you add another 8 million per year, meron ka ng Dwight Howard. Now, we'll go to Dwight.
Okay.
Saan naman siya most likely?
Actually, ang hirap niyan eh. Kasi if I were an NBA executive and I'd base my decision or research on the last few seasons of Dwight Howard, talagang mapapailing ka and his asking price is very high.
Yes.
Parang hindi ba pwedeng mag-discount ka na lang? I mean, you're injury prone, you were never the same as you were back in 2009 and 2010, and everyone knows, well documented yung kanyang pagka-cry baby, yung kanyang mga issues off the court, mga sinasabing ano. So, I don't think he's worth the asking price. I think he's still maybe a top 10 center in the NBA. But given all the issues you have to think about when you sign him, he's a risky pick for me.
All right, let's talk about New York. They made some very interesting moves. Derrick Rose.
Yes.
At iniimbitahan pa ni Carmelo Anthony si KD na sumama sa kanila. Do you think they got better? Do you think they can make the playoffs with D Rose as their point guard?
I think this is a new start for New York, and it's a promising start. I think. If I were a New York Knicks fan, I'd be excited because at least they made a move and they took a gamble on someone. And if you're going to take a gamble, might as well be on someone who was an MVP before. So Derrick Rose, will he ever be that same Rose we saw years ago? I doubt. But a new start, walang kaagaw na Jimmy Butler sa backcourt, may Carmelo ka to lead the team. He's the undisputed leader of that team. You have an up-and-coming player in Kristaps Porzingis, a strong chance, I think, of signing New York native Joakim Noah. I think New York is building up to be a pretty intriguing team heading into this season.
Eh, mapunta naman tayo ngayon, Enzo, sa mga teams who stayed intact. Siguro tingnan natin yung Golden State Warriors, but they have a chance also of moving Harrison Barnes.
Yes.
But then, just in case they do that, kamusta ang magiging future nila?
Well, Harrison Barnes is a big piece of this team's puzzle. Alam ko he's part of that death 5 lineup ng Golden State. He can play both 3 and 4, maybe even 2, but they don't play big lineups anyway. But he's a big part of that team. No? Nakita natin yan nung finals. He played really badly in the last 3-4 games, and that's where everything crumbled for Golden State. He was kind of a silent barometer for that team. No? If he chooses to go elsewhere, that puts a lot of pressure on Golden State to sign someone who can fill in that void and that skill set, which is not very, very easy to find. If they lock out, maybe may Nicolas Batum, may Luol Deng, mga ganyang players, but iba pa rin yung Harrison Barnes. No? Even if he choked in the finals, he's a young kid, he's part of that system, and he's a big part of that team's success for the past couple of years. So they really need to get him in.
2 more names that we mentioned earlier, Al Horford, Pau Gasol. Where do you think they will end up?
Al Horford, I think, is out of Atlanta. I mean, he can get the most money in Atlanta, but that team has stagnated the past few years. No more Jeff Teague. So I think Al Horford, the best move for him is to go elsewhere. I'm hoping and praying he goes to OKC because that would be really, really good. Although OKC has to sacrifice a lot as well. Si Pau Gasol, medyo malabo. I don't think he goes back to Chicago, given how Chicago has just pretty much blown everything up on that team. I don't think he goes back to the Lakers, but definitely anywhere Pau Gasol goes, I think he's going to be a big asset, and he'll immediately maybe turn that team into a contender.
All right. If there are any more predictions, I think nagkaroon din ng move itong Indiana Pacers with Jeff Teague.
Yeah.
Siyempre na-revamp din sila. Do you think the Pacers will go up? Medyo mas
I think Jeff Teague is a big step up for them compared to George Hill. So yung Pacers, I think they're a threat to be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference.
bitin na naman ang ating usapan dito sa NBA Free Agency. But I'm sure, Enzo, we'll see you again soon. You can follow him on Twitter @hoopnut.
Thank you, Enzo.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Thank you.
For more sports updates, keep watching The Score. And don't forget to subscribe.